Well, guys, there's been some very confusing things with content over the last 2 days here. Since really the beginning of this captain's promo, that's kind of like a filler promo, it seems like. And we got this 100,000 coin Evo. We're getting lightning rounds back in the store. And meanwhile, content doesn't feel very good. We've got leakers basically lying to us at this point about evolutions and other things like the League SBCs, quote unquote, that came out. Yes, leakers did say it was similar to League SBCs, this Europe upgrade and Africa upgrade, but we're gonna get to all of that. It's been a very interesting last 2 days here. If you guys would like to buy coins, you can go to MMOXP.com. There will be a link in the top of the description. They're the safest and the cheapest option, and you can use my code JFC at checkout for an 8% discount. And the only real big leaks we've got right now is a fullback evolution that leakers are once again saying is very good, but we can't trust what they say at this point. There's basically either two things happening here: leakers over embellishing things to help promote, I guess, their trading discords. And I shouldn't say promote their trading discords, I should say allow their discords to make more coins off of the leaks, right? So that's either happening, which I think is probably the most likely outcome, or two, the other outcome is just that EA are like fucking with them and they're changing things last minute that I don't think is actually happening here, right? That's kind of where we are right now. I do want to say though, thank you all for watching and being here. I appreciate you all so much, because we're kind of digging right into stuff here. But I wanted to say with the leaks news part, like that's kind of all the leaks we've got right now, is that fullback Evo that we will talk about. But today we'll be mostly just talking to you guys about some of the content choices and why I think part of this is genuinely our fault. And I don't want to take all the blame away from EA, because that's not the case here at all. There's things that they definitely are doing, to me, incorrectly, but I think there's a couple things too that we are mainly at fault for, and we'll talk about that as we get there. But first of all, here, the 100,000 coin Evo. This was big controversy because people are saying, where the hell are we getting 100,000 coins from right now? Coins are harder to come by. The rewards have been nerfed. Now they're a little bit better, but they're still obviously not kind of what they were in previous years. And now this is 100,000 coins. Doesn't seem to be very great. Now, I think personally, 100,000 coin Evo, yeah. When you allow 100,000 coin Evo here and say it's okay, you can then take the next step and say, okay, well, is a 200,000 coin Evo okay? A 300,000 coin Evo? I obviously would rather not there be paid evolutions, and we at one point did not have paid evolutions. But this one, I actually think, like this Clivert card here, I think genuinely would be worth 100K. Like, unless they nerf Anticipate Plus, this is such an insane playstyle plus, guys. Like, you have got to use this in your team, and if you're not using it in your team, you are missing out heavily. So I think actually low-key, this is like kind of not the worst, but I'm still not going to say it's a good Evo, because I don't like the idea of 100,000 coin Evos. I just don't like that. It's going to be almost impossible for me to say I like 100,000 coin Evo with the way that the coins work in this game right now. I'm just not going to say that. And also going along with this, the leakers did say that this is going to be the best evolution of the year, bar none. And I think in terms of stats for defenders wise, it probably is, but they of course left out that it's 100,000 coins. They, I think, knew that, and they didn't want to say that because then the investments prior wouldn't have gone up as much. That's a big piece of content right now. So the leakers are starting to really embellish things because it helps them a lot in their own business, right? So that's something that we've got to take a look out for. And also, if you guys did this Evo, who did you guys use in this, and have you liked them so far? Let me know in the comments. And then I mean, you guys know how I feel about League SBCs, okay? You've heard it a million times from me, and we got a leak prior to the Europe upgrade and the Africa upgrade coming out that it's like, hey, a League SBC type thing is coming out. It's repeatable, maybe not unlimited, but a few times at least, was what I think FUT Police League said, a few times at least repeatable, and it looks pretty good. This is what we got. I mean, it's just insane, right? This is nonsense. I don't know what they're smoking over there. This is ridiculous. The Europe upgrade here at the bottom has 85, 85, 85, 385 squads? I thought it was 385 squads here for a Benjamin Seshko. And these packs that are in here are mostly untradeable. These tradable ones you need like squads for that aren't much, but are still like, comparing to the pack you get, you're giving up like as many or more players actually in the packs you get back, which is kind of a funny little way to actually give you less cards than you put in. It's just like, what is this? Like, what's the purpose of this if you don't make it repeatable or half decent? It's all of this for a Seshko, and then obviously the end reward if you do all of them is, guys, you're not going to believe this, a cosmetic evolution, and it's the same one that's in the store right now. You're probably going to see this in like a rush objective where it's like, hey, here's a captain's cosmetic, because here, throw it in as something, I guess. This is what you get for doing all all of these in 8. Like, this is beyond confusing. I do not have any idea what they're thinking behind this is, other than the League SBC guys, like, here, take this and shut up for a while. Like, this is kind of something like that. I mean, I honestly have no idea, because this is not actually anything like that. This is nothing like the League SBCs. Not a damn thing. But this also isn't for the guys who are like the casual players, because they're going to see this and go like, what is this exactly? And it's not worth it for Sheshko himself. And I guess his 103-84 pick is interesting, but it's an 85 squad, which is horrible. I mean, I don't know what this is, guys. I have not a clue, other than they made this in like a day and just didn't really think it through much. And then the Africa upgrade isn't like, it's not nearly as bad, right? Now, of course, they're like all untradeable apart from what? You have a premium silver pack tradable, and you put 5 golds in for that, and that's it. And the final pack here is a small gold players pack. And then that way you're going to get the, is it the Ben Sabani or whatever? I don't know. I just have no clue what I'm looking at here. It's almost an insult to us, like the fact that this is coming out, because they either insult your intelligence or they took 20 minutes to complete this. And maybe it's just not that deep and it's just not a very good piece of content, but genuinely, I don't even want to talk about it. I want it off of my screen, because what in the hell? It's an insult to everybody who wants League SBCs back, is what the hell that is. I'm done talking about it. And this might be kind of crazy here, but honestly, every single week prior to Black Friday, like that week before then, week before the Black Friday promo begins, is for some reason just always a terrible week of content. I don't know what that is. Is it intentional? Like, I'm starting to think that this might actually be somewhat intentional, because I don't know how the hell this keeps happening every single year. This might be like year 4 in a row. And for example, like the own the ball Evo here, these little Evos that they're dropping, own the ball, and right here, the sideline flyer, right? These, I don't mind these. In a vacuum, I wouldn't mind these. But the problem is they're like max 84, right? I mean, I don't get, if you're going to give us one playstyle, one base playstyle, and one role plus plus that we might never use. Some people will never use center mid playmaker plus plus all year long because there's so goddamn many. This has got to be like 87 overall. It has to actually have a chance of like helping your team out, not be like an interesting, oh, little chain Evo that you might be able to put to a card one day and expires in 19 days. Like this is also confusing. Like, who is this helping? This would actually be somewhat helpful to you if it's like max 87 or something like that, where it's like, oh, he might actually, like a card might get into your team that you can give first touch to. It's also only 6 base play styles, which like even then is a little restrictive. This is what I mean by the confusing content. Like 84 here, you get quick step base on an 84 right back. This is max 87. This might help your right backs get a little base quick step. Sure, why not? Max 6 play styles. You only get wing back plus, by the way, not even plus plus. So that, I mean, I don't see why this has to be max 84. Now, this one, of course, we know is a fullback Evo coming out, so that might actually help chain. What if a center mid Evo doesn't really come out over the next like couple weeks? And then, just, I don't know, guys. I don't know what I'm even doing trying to rationalize this. I just think sometimes maybe I'm like looking at things far too negatively, but I just do not understand the use for some of this stuff, and it could be so much better with just a slight little tweak. And is max 87 for these just that? Is it just too good? Like, is it just that crazy to have a max 87 overall here? I just don't get how that would be too good. And they clearly think max 85 is too good, because otherwise they'd put it max 85 if they didn't think it was. Like, we're just at a disconnect here to me. And I don't know. This happens every year at this time with this promo, the one before Black Friday. And of course, this is the week they decided to give us lightning rounds, which is interesting because you'd think they want to save that for like the bigger promos like Black Friday, where it's like, hey guys, the first lightning rounds are coming out this Friday. Like, they can even announce that or something like that. And then there's no way they don't sell more packs that way. And so they drop them for a random promo here. You can't see them now, but they're here at content time every day. And of course, when people are not satisfied with the game, that comes across worse as well. Just like not good PR a lot of the time for their players. And I don't know. Anyway, we're going to talk about some of the stuff that I blame us for a little bit next, but like this stuff right here, I'm blaming EA for, because like the content, like some of this stuff is so confusing. The part that I'll blame us for slightly is this part here, and this is still tying into our talk about content, because I saw this Nepenthes tweet that did really well, where he says here, champs rewards nerfed, rivals rewards nerfed, squad battles rewards nerfed, SBCs wildly expensive, evos wildly overpriced, objective cards 3 steps below the power curve, coins impossible to obtain and market on the floor, but fear not, 100k lighting rounds are here. And that was obviously the case on a Friday. And of course, the market did go down some because of that, because of lightning rounds. Of course, they're going to go down. Now, this is just a tweet looking back on September 15th. Dog tweeted this out, and it had hella engagement, right? 12K likes. Everyone's loving this. Slower power curve taken seriously, they say. Store packs reduced. Rivals rewards reduced. Champs rewards reduced. Objective packs reduced. Evolutions nerfed. No August Player of the Month SBC. Promo cards less boosted. Gold teams will last much longer. Absolute Cinema Prime FIFA is back. 12K likes down here. And the replies were people that were very, very happy about this. And then the issue with some of this is that we actually got some of this stuff. And then we realized, we didn't really like it. Now, part of this, though, is see this right here, store packs reduced. Some of it maybe was reduced, but let's be real, the store packs have been very prevalent still, of course, because they have to be. So the argument could be because this wasn't reduced, it then ruined the rest of this, but we did want a slower power curve. We're getting golds lasting longer. They've lasted longer this year than they had the past couple years. And sometimes I think people forget that to reduce the power curve, you have to reduce the things we get. Like you can't keep the coins the same that we were getting while keeping the power curve the same. The only way they could attempt to do that is by starting cards lower. Like if they started cards, maybe the gold cards were 85s and 86s at like the max and then lower from there, then there's more room to grow, I guess, is like the way I suppose you could try to keep the coins, like that coin injection the same. Because then the icons are so far above everybody else that like there's things to strive for all the time while still getting a ton of coins, but then you have the disparity between the golds and the icons. So there's maybe ways you could do that. Maybe you could argue that that's EA's job to figure that out, but a slower power curve, we just were so happy about here. And a slower power curve, you have to get less stuff. Now, the way that EA can make things interesting, so by giving us less stuff, is having more interesting content. The content we do get being interesting. That is where EA needs to go if they're going to make a slower power curve. That's what we talked about in the channel a lot. Like, okay, well, EA, this is a big year for you because you're going to have to make content more interesting, because if there's going to be less of it, it's got to be interesting. And instead, there's not really less of it, and it's still not interesting, so it's kind of like an abundance of stuff all the time that you don't really care about. Live events has been the best thing that they've had this year, and Weekend League, people are just kind of like passing up on, and same with Rivals. Also, we're on year like 9 of Division Rivals, whatever the hell we're on, or year 8, and that game mode is awful, and I don't know why it's still in the game. But this is just the problem, is that this is a two-pronged issue right now, I think, and mainly it's on EA, I think, a lot of the time to have the good ideas and make the interesting content. But the things we've asked for here, they're not completely, besides the store packs, like completely things that none of us have wanted, right? Some of the stuff we have wanted that we are seeing here, and some stuff like no. I mean, Evo is being wildly overpriced. That doesn't have anything to do with the power curve, right? So not all of this, of course, but there is just an element to, hey, the community wants this, so okay, well, we'll do this instead. And then it turns out maybe we didn't want that. But of course, you know, what do you guys think about this? We talked about this a lot actually prior to the game coming out. If you guys were here in that time of the year, like really early September, late August, where we were starting to see these things, and we were all pretty happy to see it. But at the same time, we were like, okay, well, things need to be interesting still. League SBCs can do this. Things in the menus, menu grinding is a huge piece of this. There are so many things that they could do to make the game interesting while things can be slower. And that's where I think EA is to blame here, because this isn't the worst idea to me, is to reduce some of these things. Actually, is not the worst idea, but they have to make things interesting. The gameplay too, that needs to be interesting. And it was, start this game, it was, we kind of liked it, and now we don't really like it as much. And then the menu grind, they don't want to give us back because it was too good. But the problem is, if the power curve's slower, you got to have interesting things in the menus to keep us occupied and not bored. And you don't want to do that because you're too scared it's too good. Well, this is your own fault then. So that's where EA is at fault to me, is that stuff, that they will not bring back a menu grind. That is such an important piece of the game. And instead, we get the Europe upgrade and the Africa upgrade. Just to shove it deeper inside of you. I meant to say like stabbing, not like the other thing. I actually lied. I forgot to mention there is a hero pick that also is coming out that does look pretty good. Like a 1 of 3 hero player pick that we'll talk about. But okay, do want to talk about this here. The silver tournament, there is this that for the rewards, I think it's one of the last rewards in this silver tournament that comes out today. There's a season 2 WTSS pick, and I'm assuming that's the World Tour Silver Superstars pick. So you're going to get one of your choice actually after you finish the cup or the tournament or whatever. So just keep that in mind here, that you probably, I'm assuming you've not done all 5, but you'll be able to pick one of the 5. If, say, you're not close to Pele, you're not close to Jairzinho or something like that, or one of the icons, you can then just pick them afterwards. You can't use them, obviously, in this season's silver tournament because it's probably one of the last rewards here, but you'll still get them, which is kind of a cool little thing there. And by the way, guys, just to show you what the tweets we were seeing at the start of these leaks coming out, this is before content. This is like, I think, what, 8 hours before content on Friday. These are the tweets we were seeing. Festival of Football, League SBCs, pack rewards, player rewards at the end. We are so back, fire emojis. And we get this piece of shit. So just don't listen to these guys anymore, okay? You just can't listen to them. We got to just take everything with a grain of salt. And if it comes out at content time and it's actually what they say, then cool. And just take it as if it's not going to be. Because this shit will piss you off if you think something like this is even coming back. Something close to it. This was not close to it. Not even close. And okay, here is this left back / right back Evo coming to Ultimate Team soon. Great stats upgrades as FUT Police Leagues. Pace with +10 / +15. Passing, dribbling, defending, and physical upgrades. Quick step and jockey, fullback ++. And down here he says that the cap should look something like this apparently. And that doesn't look amazing, but it looks okay. Probably pretty good if you actually like a Frimpong in here or something like that with really high pace. But yeah, the things we were seeing prior to the center back Evo coming out were crazy. Like, it was ridiculous predictions of cards. I think FUT Police Leagues is flying way too close to the sun with all the shit that he's trying to do, because I think EA is going to crack down on like these guys soon. Like, they already are. They're already trying to troll them, and I think they're going to crack down, like actually crack down on them pretty soon. And he does say he thinks 85 defending is the cap, and he always says I think, which I think is bullshit, because right down here, like, fullback's going way up in price already. Teddy talks about this. Oh wow, I'm so shocked. Who's leaking the fullback Evo first? Frimpong up, Mendy up, Balde up, Kamavinga up, right? They're all going up prior to the leaks coming out because welcome to 2025. And I did see some people say on Twitter, by the way, that the only reason that anybody was hyped up about the League SBCs, quote unquote League SBCs coming back, like the Europe and Africa ones, is because the leakers hyped it up to be League SBCs. If they just came out, you probably wouldn't care as much. Now, maybe that's true. I would call bullshit though, because if I saw anything close to League SBCs and then they drop that, I'd be insulted. I'd be like, what the fuck is that? Maybe it adds insult to injury that leakers made it out to be better, obviously, than what it was, but I think I still would have been upset no matter what. That's just me personally, I guess. But we do have these 3 heroes down here as SBCs, by the way. Hamsik, Pele, and Cordoba pick, which I do think is pretty cool. There's 3 nice heroes there. They're all around 250k, I want to say. BD Pele is 300k. Okay, so what's Hamsik at then? Is he 300k? Merrick Hamsik is 303. Okay, then I definitely can guarantee you Cordoba will be like 275. Something along those lines. 324, never mind. More expensive. So 300k, those are pretty good heroes there. And Cordoba, I don't know how good he actually is going to be this year, but high pace center backs are pretty damn good. I just personally need to anticipate on some of these center backs here. And then Figo, Van Persie, Campbell, we've not seen yet, right? So waiting on those 3, and then Wendy Renard as well. But yeah, that's pretty much the content that we've not seen yet. And that's like all the leaks pretty much. And I think I've ranted enough about all this bullshit. Oh, and wait, we do know the wins, by the way. It's win 20 of 30 in the cup. So you got to win 2 out of 3 games to get the silver player pick. So it actually is pretty difficult. Hopefully you guys can get there, but it's probably still worth grinding, attempting to get these silvers before the tournament comes out today. And by the way, leading into content here, or not content, sorry, into the market, buy silvers right now. Even if they're inflated, you'd rather buy them right now than after the silver tournament actually comes out, because they'll be more expensive. Even if they're up at this moment, you still want to buy into that, to me, just to remind you guys of that right now. And the market keeps dropping because, for one, we got lightning rounds, obviously, right? So lightning rounds is going to do a number to the market. However, it's funny seeing the fact that, like, weekend league demand right now is not normal. Like, this is not as high as it usually is. Look at yesterday here. Beaumonti actually didn't really even go down that much. Went down quite a decent amount right after the lightning rounds, but kind of went back up for some demand, and now back down once again. And maybe it is actually, maybe I'm giving it a little bit of a hard time here. Maybe I'm being too cynical. It is seemingly maybe up a little bit on some meta golds, I guess. You ball 90k. Yeah, up a little bit, but for the most part here, just not seeing much, because I think weekend league is not being played too much this weekend. I think what we're probably going to see here with these captains cards, they're not that expensive. Well, at least relative. They're going to drop more. They're going to drop way more to me. I wouldn't buy these cards at all right now, personally. But yeah, gold cards, guys, you got to get rid of them. Like Puteos right here. I'm not holding any gold into this next weekend. There's no way. And usually what I would say to you guys is buy icons and heroes, and the rare cards, those are the ones you want to buy. buy, but the power curve, I think, usually for Black Friday is probably going to shift. We're seeing better evos as well. I think there's no real safe card to buy right now. The safest, of course, will be the icons and heroes, but right now more than ever, I'm not buying anything, and it's proven to be a good idea. If you guys did that 2 days ago when we talked about it, you've made coins over the last 2 days because the market's gone down. Right now, like anything here, I'm not buying, and fodder's been interesting because with lightning rounds, of course, there's going to be a lot of fodder supply. That's always, if you guys don't know, if lightning rounds come out, fodder is the thing that gets hit actually the worst out of anything on the market. Fodder gets drilled, and it has, and that is great because there's going to be a time very soon where we're going to buy this, and we're going to make a lot of coins on this. Black Friday SBCs, I know there's a lot of tradable store packs, but if the conspiracy is correct and they want shit content for a week to get everybody back for Black Friday, we're seeing some great SBCs. Because I think the last few years, Black Friday's been some really good SBCs. Was it Cruyff last year? Was that the Black Friday SBC? I don't remember when that was. There's always some good ones, and I think we're going to buy this real soon here. We're still letting it drop. I'm going to let it drop for a few more days probably still, but I think we got to look at this soon. And okay, let's read some of your comments now. We got This Is Me 219. I had reward evos, just the playstyle ones. Now the new season is there, and now they're gone. I thought they were permanent. I lost out. Haha. I do not have any idea why those playstyle evos that you earn are not permanent. I don't know. They're afraid you're going to make too good of a card, I guess. But what's the reason why they expire other than just like, fuck you, and we want to have there be some jeopardy behind it? Like, I don't know what the actual reason is behind them expiring. I have no clue. We got This Is Mark Mack here who says, like, I think you're overthinking reactions to a patch. What is probably true for the majority is if they're winning, the game / patch is the best ever. If they lose, especially if they used to be winning, it's the worst ever. There's no consideration of whether or not the game is better because frankly, even if the game is great, if someone's losing, he'll say the game is the worst. And since more people pipe up when they're losing, public opinion will skew negative most of the time. And I think this is mostly true. I do attempt to find people in like my comment section that are like, yeah, I'm not playing the best, but I'm liking gameplay, or I'm losing more than I was winning, but I like the offense, or, you know, just things like that. It is by and large, like you say here, it's harder to find that than people saying like, I can't win a game, I hate this gameplay. But I do think it's important to try and evaluate gameplay without thinking about winning and losing, obviously. And down here, public opinion will skew negative most of the time. I do think for the most part, almost all games in general, especially sports games, but just games in general, the opinion does skew negative. And I think that is warranted for the most part, but I do think there are times we take things too far, right? And things aren't actually as bad as we say they are. But I do try to consider that when I do like make rantish videos or like ranty type things. I do try and consider like, is this just being a little overblown? But honestly, like some of the stuff today, I'm just like, bro, I have no explanation as to what this is and what, like who this is appealing to. And that's just one day's content example. Maybe that's a bad way to look at it, but just in general, I think my opinion, obviously, as you know, does skew negative, but I think I try and be as objective as I can be. And then 2-inch beta here, brother, those who stay away from FUT to begin with could not care less about an 81 gold player pack in the store. And this is a response to me talking about in the last video, like why they're making all the XP in like different modes. It's got to be to get people from those modes onto Ultimate Team, right? Otherwise, what the hell are they doing? I think the thing with that, though, is that yes, most people, that's probably the case. They're staying away from FUT, but there's people who've never played FUT before and they're playing career mode and they might hop on, and just one person that ends up being a whale that they can convert into a FUT player is so big for them. And if they can do that with like a couple hundred people onto FUT that are whales, that's huge. Obviously, when we get to the thousands, that'd be well worth it, but just like the whales are what they cater towards hard. And I think they catered way too hard to the whales for a couple of years there, and that killed parts of this game. That's another long story, but EA went away from the average player for a few years and maybe longer than that, but they went away from the average player and getting more new players to like, how do we get the whales to just give us a big old load, right? All over our faces, right? Just big loads. And it worked. Like they made a lot of money, but long-term effects of that, I think they didn't realize exactly what would happen. And here we are. We're living through the effects, and oopsies, player counts are down to the point where their new strategy is like, well, listen, you guys, anything you say, please don't leave us. Oops. But guys, thank you all for watching and being here. Appreciate you all so much. And I love you all. Peace.